Good morning, folks, and welcome to episode 18 of the Fintech Insider Breakfast Show, a show from the folks from 11FS, bringing you the breaking news from around the fintech and banking landscape every weekday at 8:30 BST. As we're all going to be cooped up together for the next couple of months, we thought we would try and give you just a little bit brighter start to your days every morning. The show is a mix of people from the 11FS family, as well as friends from 11FS around the globe and around the industry. What we are trying to do is just keep everybody going a little bit. It's easy. I mean, I was saying just before we went on air now, I think I could go stir crazy if I was just talking to myself all day. So it's nice to sort of talk to some other people. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Norris Koppel, who is the founder and CEO over at Monese. We're going to be talking about digital access to finance and how supporting their customers during this uncertain time is top of their priorities. As always, we do love getting questions, so feel free to pop those in the chat. I mean, for starters, guys, let us know where you're tuning into from this morning. But Norris, how's it going, my friend?
Hey, David, happy to have this virtual breakfast with you. It's going pretty well. I must say we are working from home, all of us, and so far so good.
Where is home, Norris?
I live in West Sussex, so for me, it's I'm saving 3 to 4 hours of commute time every day now. So I'm quite enjoying this.
It's amazing what you can do with those 3 to 4 hours, having them back again, isn't it? I'm in a similar place. I'm over on East Anglia in Norwich, so like literally 2 hours out of Liverpool Street every morning. It's pretty painful. But
exactly.
How's things going over at Monese? You guys are, I mean, from the get go, you've been, I guess, a digital organization. So really, in terms of the operation of the business right now, it should seem like plain sailing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we already enabled lots of our team members to work from home way before COVID-19 kicked in. So it was everybody had laptops and so on. So I think lots of people are actually enjoying working from home. Maybe there are exceptions, people who are, have to work using kitchen desks and whatnot. Maybe it's less enjoyable. But overall, we are ready. Customer support, we got laptops for customer support as well. Everybody's working from home. And so far, I'm getting reports back from all around the team that it's going pretty well.
Awesome. I mean, I like you. You have a really great reputation, and I sort of say this in all seriousness. Both you, Monese, but actually you as a person, Norris. Like I think you're famed as one of like the nicest CEOs of challenger banks type thing. You never say anything negative about anybody. You've always got really sort of positive outlook on the world. And actually, I think that reflects in the culture of the company. I know with the interactions that myself and the 11FS team have had with the Monese team, like, is that just your disposition? Are you just a very positive, very happy person, or how does that sort of really kind of come about?
Oh, you're too kind, David, but thank you very much. I think I'm trying to generally sort of maintain a positive outlook in life at all times, and this is down to the personality, I think. Also, it does help that this is not my first business, so I've been through the thick of it, and I do know that you whenever things are tough or good, you always have to treat people the same way, because it's if you don't treat people in a right way, it always comes back and haunts you. So
yeah,
it's just easier generally to be more upbeat and positive about others as well. So again, when you say negative stuff about others, at some point you're going to be in the same situation. It's going to come back and hit you harder, I guess.
Very, very true. Loads and loads of people joining us, again, looking like it from around the globe. So Raoul, good morning. Charles, good morning. Chris Skinner joining us again. Chris, all over from Warsaw. Nice to see you again. Sadaf, Alberta, good morning. If you guys have got any questions for Norris as we're going through this, then feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll kind of make sure that I'm bringing them up. Hey, David Cunningham, thanks for joining in this morning. So how is this affecting you guys at Monese then, Norris? Because I guess, you guys have been, as you say, sort of digital from the get-go, mobile by design. How is this affecting your customers?
Yeah, I think for us generally, I mean, if I go back a little bit about when this whole thing kicked off, I mean, I think it was perhaps in late Jan, maybe Feb, one of my senior advisors started talking about this COVID-19 being her being very worried about this. And at the time, I mean, when you run around like 1,000 miles an hour and constantly looking at in front of you only, then it's very difficult to see a threat that is coming from thousands of miles away. And I guess I maybe didn't take it seriously enough, but we kind of started planning around this way before stuff hit the fan. So we went as far as not just sort of business contingency planning and building scenarios and all that, but we also sort of got people who didn't have laptops, who were working on sort of a small Mac Minis and whatnot. We got them laptops as well. And there was one day when our CTO took off from London with a suitcase full of brand new laptops and flew over to Tallinn to make sure that our customer support agents were able to work from home. So we took these steps already way weeks ahead before stuff really started happening, and it really escalated within 24 hours for us. Really, we had this contingency plans. We had like 3 scenarios in place, and we were internally thinking, yeah, what's the likelihood of that bottom one happening? Well, in 24 hours, we went straight to red. So everybody worked from home, and it was before. I think we probably sent people home 1 week before. Lots of London-based businesses sent their people home, and that was several weeks before the actual lockdown already. So we also set up like a daily sort of a leadership war meeting, whatever you want to call it, so like 15 minutes each day, and we discuss how to tackle this, how to keep people going and customers served and all that. So we have pretty sort of a solid. I think we are supporting Zoom a lot. So you can see that from the share price as well. Everybody is on Zoom, and I found out what Zoom bombing means as well. By the way, I'm not sure if you heard the term.
Do you know what? I have read about it, and it's quite scary. That actually, isn't it? I mean, we do a lot of work with sort of big incumbent organisations, and they're taking that very seriously, because they won't use Zoom now as a kind of a means of communication. But it is bizarre. I mean, how I found it oddly focusing during this period of time, because I guess I imagine you guys have as well, because the things that you need to do during this period become very simple. It's serve customer, it's make sure you're dealing with your employees in a way that you want to be dealt with, and it just feels very like you say wartime, but it feels very focused like that, doesn't it?
Especially when the sun is out there shining, right? It feels like there is nothing bad in the world, but here we are.
Yeah, I think we're lucky living a little bit further out of London. Like you say, if you've got a patch of grass to run around on, then it's not all bad right now, is it? How have you found it for customers, Norris? How are your sort of customers reacting? I guess transaction volumes are probably going to be going down, but I mean, how are people kind of interacting with you as a customer during this period?
Yeah, so what we're seeing obviously is that, as you rightly said, there is some sort of a 5% drop in revenue, for example. There is a physical cash in, cash out is pretty much gone all across all over European countries. Organic growth, interesting enough, has picked up. So we basically have stopped paid marketing, and everything is organic right now. Mm-hmm. So there are ups and there are downs, but I think us being focused on being a primary account for our majority of our customers, I think we have this solid foundation. So we are less worried about sort of this thing going completely south for us. So we're basically there serving our customers, and I guess I would like to highlight really that there are consumer groups that are still very much maybe not getting enough attention in the situation. When the chancellor announced that there's going to be a coronavirus sort of a bailout for employees, part-time and full-time employees, what was kind of forgotten was those people who are actually out there still going to work. People, key workers beyond NHS, so cleaners and delivery drivers. I mean, I still keep getting delivery drivers coming in and leaving packages at my door and stuff like that. These people need to go out, and the bailout package didn't really cover these people. There was some, a little bit more extended support, but still, I think these people are mostly unprotected right now. So what we aim to do is focus on these groups right now, and they represent about 70% of our customer base as well. So we're aiming to make sure that we can do whatever we can to be the voice, be helpful, and look out for these people.
Well, it's good. I mean, you're powering the people who are powering the nation right now. I think I think the sign of the actual apocalypse will be Amazon drivers stopping actually delivering things. They seem to go out in every event at this stage, don't they? But a few sort of questions sort of popping up around. I mean, Brexit is now. I mean, it's the first time I think I've said Brexit in the last 4 weeks. But somebody, Charles Lane has said, question for Norris: how is Brexit going to affect Monese's plans? I mean, has all of the planning for Brexit just sort of gone on the back burner during this period, or is it something that you're still sort of actively thinking about?
It's almost not the word anymore, to be honest. We were preparing for the Brexit since the business was born many years ago. That was before Brexit was, even thought about. So we have built from day one. We have built this sort of a truly pan-European, truly international business. So getting licenses in different jurisdictions and making sure. So I remember, I think it was 2014 or 15 when my investors started asking, okay, what are you doing? For us, I must say that we have secured licenses across Europe. We are able to operate. Those people who are not traveling from one country to another, they stay in wherever they are right now. We are able to serve them across Europe right now. So from that perspective, I think business is safe and sound, and Brexit definitely has not been mentioned. I don't recall a single instance of Brexit being mentioned the past few weeks until you just did, David.
Apologies for bringing it up. It sounds like it's one of those ones that it feels like that might be one of the few benefits is our focus off Brexit has gone away a little bit, hasn't it? But Good morning to Firas, joining us all the way from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia this morning. So good morning, Firas. Question here from Lewis. So what is the perspective from Monese in terms of wealth management services? Is this something that you guys are kind of thinking about? Because, I mean, given where the markets are, people are probably looking for alternatives in terms of what those things could be. So it sounds like a potential opportunity for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is definitely a potential opportunity. However, right now we feel that, especially in the light of everybody looking at where they can save cash and be very, very focused on certain things, I think it does help for us to also stay focused. And instead of going into new areas such as wealth management, right now we are very, very focused on being a current account, being a primary salary account, making sure that stuff works, and being there for our users as well. We have seen deposits and sort of a savings amounts going up, so it's very clear that people are more worried than ever before about sort of making sure that their money takes them further. So we are basically providing saving accounts and all sorts of ways to save money, but no wealth management on a horizon at the moment for us.
It's interesting, isn't it? All the different, opportunities that sort of spring out of this. I mean, there's a few different questions here around actually, I mean, this is a period where your engagement, I would suspect, with your customers, given everybody is, quite remote, your engagement with your customers is probably going to go up in a weird way, isn't it? In terms of you being fully digital, people are going to be able to do everything that they was able to do before with you now. So, I mean, are you finding communication with customers kind of evolving during this period?
I think it's becoming, we always have tried to be, very human and sort of a straight talking and so on. But I think what has changed in the past few weeks is that, everybody is in this mess together right now. Everybody is sort of in the same tough spot. So we're trying to be even basically go above and beyond where we absolutely can and really, really be more human than ever before. So customer support, luckily, we are able to operate from homes at the moment. So I think this kind of forces people to be, more open, including our agents and customers as well. And maybe, maybe in the past where customers, when they were in a stress, they kind of, were slightly maybe not nice to our agents sometimes in a bad scenarios. But right now, I think being in this mess, all of us, it's just, I think it's in an interesting way. It's actually putting us more, in a place where we have to collaborate, and that's customers and customer support agents, all of us.
Globally, right? It's the first thing, definitely in my, in our generation, that actually it feels like the entirety of the planet is focused on the same problem, isn't it? Which is good. Yeah. So you guys put out some really interesting blogs over the last couple of weeks, actually, how to stay sane while working remotely. And actually, the second one of them that I found really interesting, and it was something that I hadn't really seen a lot of until I read the blog, but avoiding coronavirus scams. And there is a lot of them out there, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's trying to do their thing, and right now, again, we have when we entered this sort of a home working environment and this stage, we made a very conscious decision to let go some of the stuff, lots of ambition, lots of the stuff that we had on a roadmap, and just focus on our customer. Key focus for us, way beyond making revenues, increasing revenues, way beyond sort of a fundraise. All that stuff is now not important. Right now, it's important to keep customers going.
Yeah, agree. Completely agree. I mean, bizarrely, some of the scams that I've seen. I mean, I saw one yesterday on I think it was on Twitter, where somebody has literally set up a drive-in coronavirus test, and it was literally just people with a set of overalls on. They were charging Americans, I think it was $400 for a test. But it's not just physical scams. There's digital scams that are happening as well, isn't there?
It's pretty sad when people trying to take advantage of these situations, and we should obviously watch out for these and do what we can to warn people and put this stuff out there in the open. But it's generally, I think it's really sad that this is happening, and I'm not thinking very highly of the people who are scamming us.
Agree. I mean, it's sad. People always try and take advantage of situations. Loads and loads of questions over on LinkedIn, Norris. So I'm just going to jump back to a few of those.
All right.
Question from Ali Patterson. Morning, Ali. Good to see you.
Hey, Ali.
Any scope, do you think, for offering Islamic banking products? Because I mean, actually, sort of Islamic banking is very, very, very underserved in the market right now, and it feels like actually the opportunity for doing something in that space that actually really complies with true law would be very beneficial. What do you think?
So we have been thinking about it. It's I think in terms of sort of priorities, ever-changing list of priorities and everything else, I think it's been a little bit on a backbench for us right now. That said, this is something that as I mentioned, we have discussed internally quite recently. So whilst I'm not making any claims here that we are going to be, bringing this back any in the coming months, but I think perhaps later this year is something that we are opening this topic up again.
Great. I mean, there's in the work that we've done in the past, it's actually, I mean, the amount of people who have to use all sorts of different products and services to try and get to a point where they feel like they're complying. It definitely should be being made a lot more simple for people to sort of live their lives on a day-to-day basis, right?
And there are like some really low-hanging fruit there as well, in terms of even how do you set up a specific customer support team, for example, who is built up in a right way, but they are able to serve this segment. So it's definitely, we have given it quite a lot of thought, actually.
Good. A comment here from Dave Cunningham, just I think reinforcing what I was saying, is always enjoy how humble Norris is, having built a brilliant global business. I mean, a lot of love for you on LinkedIn there, Norris. Like there's a fan club starting up, which is nice.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So what question here from Amira. So what do you think is going to be the lasting impact here on COVID-19 for the fintech industry? Do you think people will just go back to work and things will be normal, or do you think this will have a real sort of lasting impact on actually community and how people run their businesses?
I think COVID-19 is one thing, but what it does to the world economy is completely another thing. So it's very clear that it's going to be pretty significant impact. So I'm seeing it all around us right now. On a daily basis, I'm talking to other founders, and lots of people will actually collapse. Investors are also waiting and seeing how this thing goes. So I think in the next couple of weeks, we may go back to work, but the damage is pretty much done already. So let's see how it goes. But I think it gives us also opportunity to actually look a little bit inward. And for me, I must say that I'm looking at every angle of the business right now, trying to see where we can save money. Maybe putting some of the product initiative on a back bench, and basically being crystal clear about what you actually want as a business, and this kind of a cleansing exercise almost. I think it's something that this is an opportunity, I think.
I mean, I was saying this to some of the management team at 11FS yesterday. It's actually coming out the other side of this. It feels the businesses that actually everybody, the ones that come out of this successfully, are going to be leaner and meaner. I think, like you say, processes and structures and costs and everything is, it feels like really sort of tightening all of those things up. So, I think there will be some real benefit for those businesses that come out the other side of this, who actually are just got all of their processes, all of their structure, all of their operating capability just a little bit tighter, which is no bad thing, is it?
There's good in all what are the positives here and how we can actually emerge as a stronger business. And I strongly suggest that other businesses also do the same. And I think lots of people are doing. I think this sort of a feel-good effect is now pretty much gone. So everybody is forced, or maybe they are consciously taking a look and revising their entire approach to business.
Yeah, one of the things that you guys announced recently was the integration with iwalker, and obviously, I think getting access to finance right now is sort of more important than ever, really, in terms of the sort of situation that we're in. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What did that partnership, that integration, really sort of mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have always been incredibly partnership driven, and we feel that in order to actually succeed and build a truly international business, it doesn't make any sense to build everything yourself. So we are relying on our partners. Lending is one of the things that we intentionally didn't go into balance sheet lending. We didn't go into balance sheet lending from day one ourselves. The idea is that we pick the best companies in the space, whether it's in the UK and preferably those who actually are able to support us on a European level. And when it comes to iwalker and their open lending platform, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity for us to provide business loans to all of our customers, and in a basically an easy way. I mean, it's all API driven, and enabled us to launch this incredibly quickly. So whilst we don't do balance sheet lending ourselves, this provided an opportunity, and we took it.
Well, that's great. I mean, and the guys at iwalker do a good job. I actually have one of the questions over on LinkedIn from Dan Feeney. What does an ideal fintech channel partner look like for Monese? But what iwalker brought was very complementary skill sets and simplicity of getting things to market, right? Is this what you look for?
Absolutely, everything. I think speed and convenience is something that we always want to do. And ideally, we also like to keep the customer experience inside our own app, which is entirely possible. And but basically things that we can't do ourselves quickly enough or don't want to do. If we find the right partner, and we definitely have found the right partner in iwalker, then this is a way we try to operate. Yes.
Cool. On the, I guess on the everything that's happening with, there's remedies being put in from place from a government perspective. I mean, do you see fintech? One of the questions that we've actually had, Gulcom has asked, do you think that fintech can play a much larger part in the distribution of the stimulus package? Is this something that you think that we'll see a lot more of, Norris?
David, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Lost you. Sorry, I lost you.
No worries. Internet in deep dark Norfolk sometimes not the best that it could be. So a few questions sort of popping up over on LinkedIn. So what do you think this period for for fintech will really galvanize the impact that it can have on the market? Because I mean, arguably, we're seeing fintechs like yourself and organizations like within the fintech sphere doing so much more for customers and their customers and the community than the really mainstream bank partners right now.
Yeah, I think it's these times give a wonderful opportunity for fintechs and sort of neobanks like ourselves, who are purely digital and on the mobile. I think this is our chance to really show the world what we are capable of, and in a most positive way. I mean, with, people having no access to physical branches and cash being phased out pretty much. Right now, this is our opportunity, right? This is what we have been sort of building for. So let's take this opportunity and show how we can focus on customers and provide, from customer experience, starting from customer experience, and also true value. Let's show the world how in these times we are up and ready to take the challenge.
So I completely agree with that. This is what everybody's been working for, isn't it? This opportunity to serve people in this way. A really, really interesting question. Trevor Hunt over on LinkedIn. Norris, which of your competitors do you most admire?
I think I admire lots of companies in this space. I think the fact that so many companies have actually started up and have been able to operate and acquire millions of customers and serve them on a day in and day out. I think this is hugely admirable, and I'm personally very often in touch with majority of these sort of neobank founders, for example. So I think I really, people who have been able to build something like this up. It's not an easy task. As you know, the startup mortality rate is pretty high. So getting through your first sort of 5 years or whatever, or getting through your seed rounds, A, B rounds, C rounds, it's truly amazing. So I'm a big fan of most of the founders in this space.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be particularly in London right now, it feels like there's actually a very good scene of people who are really sort of pulling together, even pre this, right? So it's but yeah, I mean, there's lots and lots of good organizations out there who are really trying to help customers, which for me is the critical part in all of this. I'm afraid we're probably coming to the end of our time. Unfortunately, we're hitting 9 o'clock. Norris, I know you're a busy man, so you'll have meetings to go and get your day going. So for anybody who wants to kind of keep up with what you guys are doing over at Monese, where can people find out more about you, and where can people find out more about Monese?
Just download Monese app or go to monese.com and you will find everything right there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Norris. That's all we have for you today, I'm afraid. If you like what you saw, then we're here same time tomorrow. We're going to be joined by Freddie Kelly, who is the founder and CEO over at Credit Kudos. But that's all we have for you time today. Stay safe, everybody, and see you tomorrow morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.